Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news, all right, folks. Buckle up because I've got some spicy rumors and insider intel that could shake up the AFC North quite a bit. We're talking about a potential blockbuster trade that could see Sauce Gardner, yes, the talented cornerback from the Indianapolis Colts, making his way to the black and gold. Now I know what you're thinking. Is this for real? Well, sources close to the league are buzzing. It's still in the rumor stage, but the chatter is loud enough that Steelers Nation needs to be paying attention. The Colts, sitting at 8-7, are in a tricky cap situation with only about $2 million left, and let's face it, they're focusing heavily on rebuilding their offensive line. That's no secret. But what's interesting is, rumors indicate that they might be willing to trade Gardner, a player with a solid reputation and a lot of potential, in exchange for a first-round pick in 2026 and a third-rounder in 2027. This move would be part of their rebuild strategy, especially after the chaotic Jets trade saga, which left their secondary shredded and in need of some serious fixing. Now, let's talk about Gardner himself. The 25-year-old cornerback has been impressive, but not quite at the elite level you'd expect from a player of his caliber. His PFF grade hovers around 75, 1 overall with a coverage grade of 73. 1. He's not known for racking up interceptions. His numbers are low there, but he excels in run defense where he scored an 84.6, ranking 5th among his peers. His career has shown flashes of brilliance with an 87. 9 PFF rating prior to this season, and he's considered an elite talent when he's on his game. His targets have been low, averaging about 4 per week, which is a good sign of his disciplined coverage. The Steelers, as we all know, have been dealing with injuries in their cornerback room, and adding a player like Gardner could be the perfect fix to shore up that secondary. Imagine him lining up opposite Levi Wallace or Cameron Sutton, forming a formidable duo that could shut down even the most explosive offenses. The reasons behind the Colts' potential willingness to part ways with Gardner are pretty straightforward. Their cap situation is tight, and with a focus on rebuilding their offensive line, they need to free up some space. Gardner's cap hit isn't exorbitant, which makes him an attractive trade target. Plus, acquiring draft picks for the future aligns perfectly with their long-term plan. But not everyone is sold on this move. Critics argue that losing Gardner could make their secondary worse in the short term. They fear that without a proven lockdown corner, the Colts might struggle even more defensively, especially against teams with high-powered passing attacks. Still, the Colts seem to be gambling on their ability to develop other young talents and the draft to fill that void. Now, let's shift gears and look at what this could mean for the Steelers. If Pittsburgh manages to land Gardner, the impact could be immediate and significant. The Steelers' defense has been pretty solid this season, but their secondary has been exposed at times, especially in the deep passing game. Adding Gardner would give them a lockdown corner capable of shutting down top receivers and forcing offenses to rethink their game plans. The Steelers have been known for their aggressive, hard-hitting defense, but consistency in the secondary has been an issue. Gardner brings not only talent, but a mentality that fits perfectly with the Steelers' physical style of play. His presence could lead to a 20% reduction in yards allowed through the air, which would be a massive boost for the team's overall defensive efficiency. Furthermore, this move could significantly influence the Steelers' chances of making a deep playoff run. If Gardner can replicate the form he's shown earlier in his career, we could be looking at a secondary that ranks among the best in the league. That kind of shutdown ability could turn the Steelers into a nightmare for quarterbacks, especially in high-stakes games. It's not just about stopping opponents. It's about creating turnovers, setting up short fields, and giving the offense more opportunities to score. And with Kenny Pickett developing nicely, a reinforced defense would give him even more room to operate and grow. The Steelers have been hovering around the playoff picture for some time now, and a move like this could be the catalyst they need to push over the edge and finally get back to serious Super Bowl contention. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture. The AFC North is a division that's always fiercely competitive, with the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns all vying for supremacy. but the addition of Gardner to the Steelers could tilt the scales in their favor. Historically, Pittsburgh has built their dynasty on a stout defense, and with a player of Gardner's caliber anchoring the secondary, that identity is reinforced. It's a move that signals the Steelers' intent to contend now and in the future, especially with a potential Super Bowl window opening wider if they can lock down the division and advance deep into the playoffs. And speaking of Super Bowl odds, this move could also influence those numbers significantly. Currently, Pittsburgh's odds hover around plus 3,500, which isn't great but still gives them a chance if everything clicks. If they land Gardner and see their defense tighten up, those odds could shift closer to plus 2,500, especially if the team's secondary becomes a true strength rather than a liability. Gardner could be that X factor, someone who elevates the entire unit and makes the Steelers a more daunting opponent. The betting markets are already reacting to these rumors, with some analysts suggesting that Gardner's presence could be the missing piece that pushes Pittsburgh into serious Super Bowl contention. Now, let's not forget the other side of the coin. The Colts are facing a tough decision, and their skepticism about this trade is understandable. They worry that losing Gardner might worsen their secondary in the short term, and they're not entirely sold on the draft options available to fill that void immediately. Plus, trading a talented young player like Gardner for future picks is always a risk, especially if those picks don't pan out. But for the Colts, it might be a necessary step in their rebuild, especially if they're prioritizing cap space and long-term flexibility over short-term stability. So, what does this mean for the Steelers? Well, if this trade goes through, we could be looking at an era where the Steelers' defense becomes one of the league's most feared units again. Imagine a secondary anchored by Gardner, paired with the likes of Levi Wallace and the emerging talents on the roster. The Steelers could finally get that elite coverage unit they've been craving, which would allow their pass rush to tee off even more. J. Watt and Alex Highsmith could see more one-on-one opportunities, and the entire defense would breathe a little easier knowing they have a true shutdown corner patrolling the back end. This kind of move also sends a message to the rest of the league. The Steelers are serious about contending, and they're willing to make bold moves to get there. It's a sign that Mike Tomlin is looking to push his team over the hump, especially after coming close in recent seasons. The AFC North is a brutal division, but with a player like Gardner, the Steelers could be the division's team to beat in the coming years. Their fans have been waiting for a true defensive star to anchor their secondary, and this trade could finally make that happen. In the bigger picture, the Steelers are aiming for that next Super Bowl, and every move they make now is about stacking the deck in their favor. The addition of a player like Gardner is not just about improving the defense, but about sending a statement that Pittsburgh is back on the top tier of NFL teams. It's about building a dynasty once again, with a defense that strikes fear into opponents, and a team that plays with grit, passion, and relentless determination. Whether this trade materializes or not, it's clear that the Steelers are always looking for ways to stay competitive, and this potential move is just another sign that they're not going quietly into the night. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news.